morning, everybody. This is Beilui Nishmat, Ishti Aliza Faiza Bat Yosef Naim Salima. Today is the Yortzeit, the death anniversary of Yosef HaTzadik. Now, Yosef HaTzadik, this is a powerful person. In fact, everybody was convinced, including Yaakov and himself, that he will be the Mashiach. And in fact, that's why Yaakov treated him entirely differently than his brothers, and he was the one that he gave the coat of many colors. Now, the coat of many colors, that was originally given to by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Adam HaRishon as his special clothing, and because he was also supposed to be the Mashiach, but that was it. And then it went through the times and it was passed on to Abraham, and then to Yitzchak, and Yaakov gave it to Yosef. That's why it was so significant. Now, these many colors, by the way, just remember, these 12 colors of the rainbow. We're going to come to this in a minute. And so he now is sold as a slave. He's thrown into a pit, and it's dangerous there. And then he went through 17 times of near death. And yet he had faith all the time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is either taking him away, but he didn't believe that because he knew he was going to be the Mashiach. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu was sending him too, and they were not sending him, his brothers or anyone else. And when he was sold, he carried on 17 times. It was near death. And each time it says that he was marmamer, normally means he was angry, but he never got angry at all. He didn't, right? He never got angry. We see that through his history. And what does it mean? There's another meaning for it. Mimor is mumbling. Now let's see what that really means. All throughout his trials with his brothers and in the pit and with Ishmaelim and so on, all the way until we see him appointed by the king, he was saying two things in his mind, and he kept it strongly there, and that was remembering the 12 hidden names of HaShem inside the Birchat HaKohanim. Now you'll say to me, but there are 17 words there. It is true, there are 17 words, but you reduce it, there are 12 colors of the rainbow, and within the 12 colors of the rainbow you have the Eser Sfirot, the 10 emanations of HaShem, and then you have black and white. Now, black and white, already discussed with you on Friday, and we'll continue to do so. Black and white is the difference, that knowing there is a great difference between right and wrong, darkness and light, and good and bad. Now, what was the other thing he was mumbling? He was mumbling about Pharaoh. Now, Pharaoh, it means actually lifroa. Lifroa means to settle a debt. To settle a debt. Now we see right throughout, each one settles a debt. When his brothers tried to save him, and then first of all, when he went to find him in the pit, he was gone. And Yehuda also tried to do something about it. And then because they were paying back a debt, because he went to see how his brothers were doing. And then the Ishmaelim, he was Hashem almost like paid back the debt and gave him, instead of a caravan that it smelled a beautiful perfume. But we're told by Chazal that perfume really came from his Kedusha, and the Ishmaelim realized that. So they got a much, much higher price on the market. They treated him rather the son of royalty, rather than just an ordinary slave that they had captured, and they got a much higher price. Saris took him, and he was the head of the king's household, and he immediately saw that a debt had to be paid to Yosef, that Yosef was on a special status, and he saw the holiness, and what did he do? He appointed him in charge of his whole estate, number 2. And then the wife tried to get hold of him. Again, she saw, and we're told by Chazal, that she saw in a dream that in actual fact, from Yosef, there's going to be descendants from her. What she didn't know would be is from her daughter. So anyway, she was very attracted to him. He was a very, very handsome man. And we know the story. She tried to get him. And of course, when he saw his face in the mirror, it looked exactly like his father, because we were told they looked exactly alike. And he saw the holiness in him. And he grabbed his tzitzit, and she grabbed them actually. And he ran away. He ran away. And here again, he was in danger of death, because she could have called everybody and says, kill him, look what he's done, kill him. And they would have killed him easily, because they were jealous of him. And then we find that he's thrown into a pit again as part of the 17 times. And he suffered, and he didn't complain. He was mumbling the same thing. He believed totally in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He had emunah. And so we find there also, he was recognized, the holiness and the speciality was recognized by the head of the prison, and he made in charge of everything, which is very unusual. Who does that? And he's in a pit, and he's still in danger all of the time. And then he sees these two people very worried, and he cares about them. They also have to pay him a debt. Later on, as we see, he asked them, and he not only explained their dream, but he told them the full dream, because they didn't remember the whole dream, both of them, and he gave the solution. One died, of course, and the other one completely forgot about him, though he promised. And so what happened later on, we remember when Pharaoh was in problems, and he had these dreams, and nobody could answer them, he then suddenly remembered. In other words, he was paying back a debt. And then he told the king, Pharaoh, they brought him up, and as we know, he was dressed in nice clothes, and his beard was trimmed, he had a shower, and he smelled clean, and he comes before Pharaoh. Pharaoh immediately sees what a holy man this is. But how did he know? Because again, Yosef had Ruach HaKodesh, remember, on the level that he was, and he saw exactly what the dream, because Pharaoh was testing people, and he wasn't telling the whole dream. And so he says, really, you had two dreams. And he spelt out what those dreams were. And he said, and of course, Pharaoh was shocked and surprised, because he saw, really, this man knows what he's talking about. And he says, you're a clever man. And he says, no, it all comes from Hashem. Whatever I'm telling you, I'm hearing for the very first time. And Pharaoh was very, very impressed. And again, he paid a debt. And that debt, of course, we know they appointed him as second to Pharaoh, and he was in charge of the whole country. And so the people who saw this, a lot of the people, they converted. They said, look, if he's so successful to get up here, we must follow him. So there, Yosef paid his debt to Hashem to bring him to this point, because that's what a Mashiach has to do. The Mashiach has to bring everybody back, even the non-Jews, to believing in one God. And we saw what happened when the Kohanim were allowed, and Leviim, the Leviim then were put in the land of Goshen, and they didn't have to pay taxes, they didn't have to participate in the labor of everyone else. It's very interesting that the Kohanim, the priests of On over there, which guided now, they were the new priests, and what they were doing, they were one God, except they made the mistake, and they thought, well, the sun and the moon represent that one God, They still believed, and they knew there was one force above it, but then that's what they believed in. And it was Amen, El Melech Ne'eman. And so we see the power of the Birchat HaKohanim for all of us. And we must mumble all day long in our minds, whatever situation we're in. And remember the 12 powerful aspects of Hashem hidden in Birchat HaKohanim. And we also must remember that we have to pay a debt to Hashem. We really do. And the non-Jews have to pay a debt to us, because not only to Hashem themselves, because they have to believe in one, and that's what we have to do to spread Kiddush Hashem around the world. And they have to repay a debt to us, because we are doing so much for them, and without them realizing it. And so I wish you all a good day. That's the bracha for today. Keep mumbling. Thank you.